Hi, everyone. Welcome to the SAP HR Mavericks podcast, the podcast where the future of HR meets the Mavericks who make it happen. I'm your host, Silvia Moreno Rodriguez, and today I'm with Amanda Rodriguez.
Hello, everybody.
And we are going to speak about SAP on-premise to cloud transformation. So first of all, Amanda, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Amanda Rodriguez. I'm the SAP Global Alliance Lead and Portfolio for SAP Solutions within the Worx group. And basically, at my role, what I do is to make sure that we can offer what the market demands. Basically, ensuring that we bring live all the SAP solutions that customers nowadays truly need.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's really relevant today. This podcast is going to be slightly different than the rest because we're going to go through a very thoughtful, I would say, approach and answering questions that today clients have regarding this transformation. Because, as you know, everyone knows the deadline of 2027. So we want to explore what is the current situation today in the market and how we at SD Worx approach this transformation. So it's quite complex topic. So we will go through a set of 9 questions, and Amanda will reply to these questions and try to give some answers. So let's get started. First of all, we want to bring the strategic context into the table. So as you know, SAP says that the future is the cloud. So I want you to please give us some information about this statement and how is everything moving, why SAP is saying the future is the cloud, how does this impact HR and payroll? So please tell us a bit more about that.
Sure. So, cloud first strategy, right,
Yes.
is the way SAP responds to, let's say, this ongoing change that we are all living today, right? These dynamic environments. So, it's how they answer, they provide the answer to that shift in not only in corporate IT, but also in overall business. The core idea is that on-prem systems no longer can support innovation, no longer can support the strategic needs that the companies truly need. And that's why let's say cloud will bring innovation to the table. Cloud brings new way of doing things. Cloud brings to pass that lack of maintenance, let's say, and therefore really is the strategic move they say on business today.
Yeah, and we will explore further because indeed it's a full transformation. So it's not something that you do the copy paste or anything. It's really strategic and thinking about processes, etc. So let's explore now really the 2027 deadline because that was announced some years ago. I remember maybe 5 years ago already. So 2027 is already next year, which is very close. I know time flies for everyone. So yeah, we are getting towards this turning point. So what is happening? What is the deadline? How does it look like? Is it really 2027? Are we going to expand? We actually did a podcast about this, I think 2 years ago. And there were some ideas, some people saying that it might be postponed, that is 2030, that is, So what is the situation today?
Well, 2027 indeed is the milestone, right? Because it is the moment when the support for those legacy systems will gradually stop. So we will need to see, right? Of course, that the line got a bit extended, right?
Yeah.
But what is important to remember is that companies today sitting in legacy system, they really need to start thinking what to do, how to move. Otherwise, they're going to be confronted with lack of support to start with, additional cost, right? Because they will need to invest in extending that maintenance cost. They will start lacking that innovation. And also when it brings, when in terms of compliance, right, those changes will take longer. Also, we need to remember that the talent pool of those resources that today host the knowledge on the support of those legacy systems is bit by bit being reduced because they're retiring the market, which means that, of course,
which links to another interesting topic about talent shortage, which will be probably for another podcast. But yeah, indeed, that is also a key factor for for making a decision, or start, you say start thinking or already taking the steps towards the change?
At least I will encourage every single company sitting to the legacy system to start considering the move, to start looking at how they run things today, the complexity of the systems, the
Yeah.
appetite that they might have for risk, right? To start already getting a flavor on how their journey towards cloud should look like.
Okay. There is a sense of urgency. I can feel it even acting now, because indeed time flies, and we don't want to be stuck in old technology. I want to explore more about what we said, transformation, strategy, and so on. So SAP is also saying that this move towards cloud and change of technology is not a like for like exercise. It's not a copy paste of the on-premise system into success factors, but it's a transformation. You need to think about processes. You need to really assess your company, what HR looks today, and where do you want to be in the future, which is, yeah, even a more complex exercise, because that takes time and effort within a company. So, what's your perspective on this, Amanda?
So yeah, I can only say that I fully agree with the ACP statement. This cloud migration is not just a technical lift and shift project that you might aim to run in your company. It's really a momentum to really reevaluate the way you do things, to review your HR and payroll processes, right, and to find opportunities within your whole organization. So till now, we know that legacy systems have been very stable. They were highly customized, right? But they no longer fit, let's say, the speed in which we live, the speed in which HR and payroll departments needs to get adjusted to the new trends. You need to think that also the position to move to the clouds is an opportunity to do things better, but of course, from a financial point of view, to reduce your cost and find, as I said before, new opportunities and synergies within the business. We aim at SD Worx to change the mindset of organizations. We want HR and payroll departments to really be a strategic asset towards the organization strategy, not only a cost center within the financial group.
Yeah, I understand. So you are talking, the way that you position this move, this transition, is a very positive way. So what do you think? And this is actually off the script. This is not a planned question, but I feel that I need to ask. So why do you think companies are now holding back this transformation? Because the way that you put it is putting HR departments at the strategic center of organizations, reducing financial cost, see as an opportunity to transform your organization. It all sounds like really cool, like who doesn't want to do that? So what do you think? Why are companies like holding back?
Well, I think it sits on the importance, right, that HR always had within a business. There is zero tolerance in HR and payroll, especially in payroll, right, to make mistakes. So, of course, payroll, for instance, has many areas within an organization, right? It is integrated with finances, it is integrated with your HR or master data ERP system. It is integrated, right, with let's say numerous application and key areas, and that's why it is more complex, right? It is more delicate to really run a full transformation around payroll than maybe other simplistic HR processes.
Yeah, that is, of course, I couldn't agree more. Payroll is a critical part of the business, and it's true about the zero tolerance. I didn't think of that, but we had other conversations, and indeed, everyone assumes that payroll goes well and that it's like a commodity, it needs to run, and until that doesn't happen, and then it becomes quickly a disaster. So about the move, so we know that we have to move, and the SAP is very clear. The cloud is the way to go. Is the end goal. Is the end point. But of course, there are other options, right? And not every customer feels ready to do this jump to the cloud. So what are the other options that customers that are a bit more reluctant, or they don't feel comfortable? What other options are available from an SAP point of view?
Yeah, so indeed there is no migration path, right, that fits all organizations. SAP knows that very well. So organization, I would say they need to look at three core factors. So appetite for risk, right? Then maybe level of existing complexity
Yeah.
in their legacy systems, and maybe the strategic ambition, right? Are they really willing to completely change the way of doing things today, the way of working? Or they want to take a more conservative approach, right? And maybe run the transformation journey in a
Step
more
by step.
exactly step by step. So for those who might have a very complex and legacy system, might be a good option to first go to private cloud, right, as an interim step, and later take the full cloud jump, right? At the end of the day, it truly depends on the speed that each organization is aiming to take. Change management also plays a key role there, and also the cost on the long term. They will need to take into account that, of course, taking a two-step approach will imply additional cost, right, in maintenance still and hosting. So, and also they will need to reduce the ability to innovate. When you jump directly to the cloud,
Yeah.
right, you can benefit directly from that reduction in cost, but also from the innovation and automation, AI, right, that it brings.
Yeah, of course, because that's only available in success factors. I mean, this innovation, AI, and so on. It's not available in private cloud or other systems.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, that's definitely a pro, let's say, on the success factor side. But indeed, it really depends on so many factors. So this is where we come. Like when I say we, I mean SD Works. So this is where we come in, because we of course try to make the customer journey more simple, easier for them, also to to make it better at the end. That's our core business, right? So for this particular case, SAP on-premise migration to the cloud, we designed an offering which we named Cloud Jump. Because at the moment, marketing thought that it was a great name, which I totally agree. No, seriously, jokes aside, this is where SD Works comes in, and I would like you to maybe give us a little bit of information about what is Cloud Jump and why is it relevant for this particular topic.
Yes. So I agree that Cloud Jump is a great name, by the way.
Thank you.
But yeah, Cloud Jump, is born from the need, right, that we detected in the market of having some direction, of truly helping companies to move in their own rhythm, of course, but also at the same time to give them security in that move. So Cloud Jump is basically a dedicated framework composed by 7 steps, where we accelerate the journey towards the cloud to different all type of organizations. So we apply our accelerators, internal accelerators that we have. We apply our own tool sets, so we don't depend on external, let's say, products. We start from the readiness check momentum, where we truly evaluate the situation that today's legacy system is sitting on. Then we provide advice on which will be the best path to take to the organization. We will continue to the migration of the configuration, migration of that core HR data and payroll. We will continue with the interface, also migration, right, and evaluate all the components that sits around payroll. And we will finalize with doing a full end-to-end testing, ensuring that the solution is fully validated and therefore have a happy client.
Which is the main goal,
Yes.
obviously. All right. So, no, thank you for explaining. It's indeed very clear. 7 steps in order to bring customer success and migration to the cloud. And I really particularly like, of course, the combination of the readiness check, which is provided by SAP, but also our own accelerators and migration tools, which at the end make it a complete product and offering that really helps. Maybe to deep dive and to kind of finalize this conversation, the readiness check, the Cloud Jump readiness check, what is telling the organization? So when we do this readiness check, what are organizations finding out? Because of course this is the beginning. It's I imagine it like, okay, a checklist, of course, and then you fail the test or you pass the test, and if it's green and you pass, then you can move to the cloud. But of course, probably it's not like that. So what kind of information does it reveal to organizations?
So readiness check should be taken as a doctor check, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as a medical check in overall. It's we use the tool that SAP provides, right, which will give us direct insights on the level of customization that the legacy system is hosting today.
Yeah.
It will give us also an idea of the payroll complexity that's we're being facing with. It will give us an idea of the data quality that also it's being managed today. It will give us also an idea of the compliancy and the structure around the localization that has been applied so far. And therefore, those components, will tell us, okay, which is the approach that might be required towards that cloud jump.
Yeah. Well, that I think is critical, right? Because if you directly go into the migration move without knowing and understanding what is your situation today, it can quickly become a mess.
Exactly. But also it is important. It's a very important step because at the same time will give us the visibility on how much we can improve. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's also the great opportunity that sits within this first momentum. Also because of our expertise, as you may know, Silvia, we can further support organizations, right, to redefine those new processes. And it's not only at the technical level, right, but at the functional level. So you see, it gives a bunch of opportunities to the organization to take
Indeed.
the readiness check very, very seriously.
Yeah, and that is something that we support the clients like with the readiness check, and we do it together, I imagine, or
exactly. So we take the client hand by hand from the very beginning of the journey, and we really run the readiness check with them. Of course, they can also run it by themselves, right? But we are there from momentum zero.
Okay.
So as I said, we can support them at the functional level to look at how they run things today. Many organizations they have not invested the time to really elaborate the processes, right? They might know here and there how things are running, but not in paper. When you put processes in paper, that's when you can even further realize of future gains that you might have. So that's why we can help them in a functional level to really elaborate better the way of working in their cloud processes, but also, of course, in a technical level to really get those data and insight that will tell us the current shape of the legacy system.
Data is power, especially nowadays. Data is information, is what changes everything. So, as you say, great opportunity. What are you waiting for, no? Kind of. All right, so we are going into the end of the conversation. We explained Cloud Jump. We gave a little bit of context on the current situation of the on-premise migration to the cloud. And now I want to speak about like the end. Where is the end? Like we say you move to the cloud, and then what? So what happens after the go live?
Well, in that moment, I guess that you're going to be confronted with a new way of doing things, right? You're going to find out that you're making great savings in manual efforts, that you're reducing big time the risk, right, in your payroll accuracy, that you're being confronted with more automated processes, that also innovation is coming your way in a day-to-day basis almost with all the new releases that
that's true, of
SAP
course.
SuccessFactors is bringing to the table. Also, you have greater visibility on your compliance and security around each of the steps of your payroll. And of course, you can be fully confident that if you aim to scale further, right, or to grow within your business, that is going to be also taken, it's going to be happening in a very smooth way.
Yeah.
I think it will be a moment of realization, right, of the how to do things today, but also always keeping in mind the next step, right? So what is going to be your journey? That's where SD Work also comes in, right? Because we will continue this journey with them. We will continue supporting them day after day, also ensuring that this innovation is being absorbed, is being adjusted, and taken in.
Yeah. So it's really the role of as well of an advisor and a partner, right? That takes that
Exactly.
knows, of course, what is happening with the technology in the market, etc. And just to how maybe translate that innovation, this potential, into reality for the customer.
Exactly. Many times we can hear about new releases, right? But this is where we are. So we are here to support the client to understand how to apply that
Yeah.
innovation. That
Specifically to their business.
exactly, and maybe that's some assets, right, might not be relevant, but that's why we can help the organization to detect where to further improve. We will do a 4 eyes check, let's say, on their day-to-day processes along the way.
Yeah.
So it's not just one off, right? It's a continuous journey. It's a long term.
Yeah.
journey.
It is. Go live is not the finish line.
Not at all.
It's a part of the competition. It's a milestone. But yeah. All right. So I think we covered the whole journey and to the cloud, from the readiness check to the go live. Although the go live is not the finish line. But I would like to close with a reflection, a bit more maybe inspirational for the audience. So my question is, if organizations look 5 years from now, what will they regret more? Moving to the cloud too early or waiting too long to make the jump?
Definitely doing it too early. I mean, organizations are more likely to regret not have started earlier than.
So they will regret, sorry to clarify, they will regret starting too late.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Because starting territorially, you can take risks that later can be amended, right? But now we have the line very close to us, which means that unless you have included in your long-term financial plan those additional costs, that extension on the maintenance of those legacy systems are gonna be required. Otherwise, you're not gonna be, you're not gonna be ready for it. You're not gonna be prepared, and therefore, your business might suffer.
Yeah. Sounds quite risky, as you said. Okay, so what would be your advice for companies that are in the situation that they haven't started to plan? What is your advice for them?
My advice is to start ASAP as soon as possible. It might
no
be
pressure.
no pressure, but it might be, of course, that they might find themselves a bit lost, right? Doing all this analysis on their own. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are here to support from the very beginning of the journey, to give them the guidance, right, on how to really start and, of course, continue the journey with them. So it is the critical moment that's where everybody needs to really consider moving, jumping, but not stay still.
Yeah. Yeah. So the worst case is really not doing anything.
Exactly.
Okay. A very clear message, I must say, and very clear call to action for our dear customers that are still not acting on this. Because, yeah, the future is now, and we need to jump to the cloud. Let's jump. Let's jump together. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Amanda, for your great insights today. And see you in the next podcast. Bye.